In the previous chapter, we looked at the broad classification of living organisms under the system proposed by Whittaker in 1969, wherein he suggested the five kingdom classification: Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae, and Animalia. In this chapter, we will deal in detail with further classification within kingdom Plantae, popularly known as the plant kingdom. We must stress here that our surrounding of the plant kingdom has changed over time. Fungi and members of Monera and Protista having cell walls have now been excluded from Plantae, though earlier classification placed them in the same kingdom. So, the cyanobacteria that are also referred to as blue-green algae are not algae anymore. In this chapter, we will describe algae, bryophytes, peridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms under Plantae. Let us look at the classification within angiosperms to understand some of the concerns that influenced the classification systems. The earlier system of classification used only gross superficial morphological characters such as habit, color, number, and shape of leaves. They were based mainly on vegetative characters or on the androecium structure system given by Linnaeus. Such systems were artificial. They separated the closely related species since they were based on a few characteristics. Also, the artificial systems gave equal weightage to vegetative and sexual characteristics. This is not acceptable since we know that often the vegetative characters are more easily affected by environment. As against these, natural classification systems developed which were based on natural affinities among the organisms and consider not only the external features but also internal features like ultrastructure, anatomy, embryology, and phytochemistry. Such a classification for flowering plants was given by George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. At present, phylogenetic classification systems based on evolutionary relationships between the various organisms are acceptable. This assumes that organisms belonging to the same taxa have a common ancestors. We now use information from many other sources too to help resolve difficulties in classification. These become more important when there is no supporting fossil evidence. Numerical taxonomy, which is now easily carried out using computers, is based on all observable characters. Numbers and codes are assigned to all the characters and the data are then processed. In this way, each character is given equal importance and at the same time hundreds of characters can be considered. Cytotaxonomy, that is based on cytological information like chromosome number, structure, behavior, and chemotaxonomy, that uses the chemical constituents of the plants to resolve confusions, are also used by taxonomists these days. Algae. Algae are chlorophyll bearing, simple, thalloid, autotrophic, and largely aquatic, both freshwater and marine organisms. They occur in a variety of other habitats, moist stones, soils, and wood. Some of them also occur in association with fungi, that is lichen, and animals, that is sloth bear. The form and size of algae is highly variable, ranging from colonial forms like volvox and the filamentous forms like eulothrix and spirogyra. A few of the marine forms, such as kelps, form massive plant bodies. The algae reproduce by vegetative, asexual, and sexual methods. Vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation. Each fragment develops into a thallus. Asexual reproduction is by the production of different types of spores, the most common being the zoospores. They are flagellated and, on germination, gives rise to new plants. Sexual reproduction takes place through the fusion of two gametes. These gametes can be flagellated and similar in size, as in Eulothrix, or non-flagellated but similar in size, Spirogyra. Such reproduction is called isogamous. Fusion of two gametes dissimilar in size, as in species of Eudorina, is termed as anisogamous. Fusion between one large non-motile female gamete and a smaller motile male gamete is termed as oogamous. Example: volvox and fucus. Algae are useful to man in a variety of ways. At least a half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on Earth is carried out by algae through photosynthesis. Being photosynthetic, they increase the level of dissolved oxygen in their immediate environment. They are of paramount importance as primary producers of energy rich compounds which form the basis of the food cycles of all aquatic animals. Many species of Porphyra, Laminaria, and Sargassum are among the 70 species of marine algae used as food. Certain marine brown and red algae produce large amounts of hydrocolloids, water holding substances, that is, algin, brown algae, and carrageen obtained from red algae, which are used commercially. Agar, one of the commercial products obtained from Gelidium and Gracilaria, are used to grow microbes and in preparations of ice creams and jellies. Chlorella, a unicellular alga rich in proteins, is used as food supplement even by space travelers. The algae are divided into three main classes: chlorophyceae, phaeophyceae, and rhodophyceae. Chlorophyceae. The members of chlorophyceae are commonly called green algae. The plant body may be unicellular, colonial, or filamentous. They are usually grass green due to dominance of pigments chlorophyll A and B. The pigments are localized in definite chloroplast. The chloroplast may be discoid, plate-like, reticulate, cup-shaped, spiral, or ribbon-shaped in different species. Most of the members have one or more storage bodies called pyrenoids located in the chloroplast. Pyrenoids contain protein besides starch. Some algae may store food in the form of oil droplets. Green algae usually have a rigid cell wall made up of an inner layer of cellulose and an outer layer of pectose. Vegetative reproduction usually takes place by fragmentation or by formation of different types of spores. Asexual reproduction is by flagellated zoospores produced in zoosporangia. The sexual reproduction shows considerable variation in the type and formation of sex cells, and it may be isogamous, anisogamous, or oogamous. Some commonly found green algae are Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Eulothrix, Spirogyra, and Chara, or you can say Cara. Phaeophyceae. The members of Euophysi or brown algae are found primarily in marine habitats. They show great variation in size and form. They range from simple branched filamentous forms, ectocarpus, to profusely branched forms as represented by caps, which may reach a height of 100 meters. They possess chlorophyll A, C, carotenoids, and xanthophylls. They vary in color from olive green to various shades of brown depending upon the amount of xanthophyll pigment fucoxanthin present in them. Food is stored as complex carbohydrates, which may be in the form of laminarin or mannitol. The vegetative cells have a cellulosic wall, usually covered on the outside by a gelatinous coating of algin. The protoplast contains, in addition to plastids, a centrally located vacuole and nucleus. The plant body is usually attached to the substratum by a holdfast and has a stalk, the stipe, and leaf-like photosynthetic organ, the frond. The vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation. Asexual reproduction in most brown algae is by biflagellate zoospores that are pear-shaped and have two unequal laterally attached flagella. Sexual reproduction may be isogamous, anisogamous, or oogamous. Union of gametes may take place in water or within the oogonium. The gametes are pyriform, pear-shaped, and bear two laterally attached flagella. The common forms are ectocarpus, dictyota, laminaria, sargassum, and fucus. Rhodophysi. The members of Rhodophysi are commonly called red algae because of the predominance of the red pigment R-phycoerythrin in their body. Majority of the red algae are marine with great concentrations found in the warmer areas. They occur in both well-lighted regions close to the surface of water and also at great depths in oceans where relatively little light penetrates. The red thalli of most of the red algae are multicellular. Some of them have complex body organization. The food is stored as Floridian starch, which is very similar to amylopectin and glycogen in structure. The red algae usually reproduce vegetative by fragmentation. They reproduce asexually by non-motile spores and sexually by non-motile gametes. Sexual reproduction is oogamous and accompanied by complex post-fertilization developments. Examples are Polysiphonia, Porphyra, Gracilaria, Gelidium.